Okay, so here we are, slides 58 through 67 of Mr. Easley's PowerPoint on the legislative branch. Let's see if we can get through this as quickly as possible. Okay, first and foremost, salaries. Congressmen, congresspersons, whether in the House or Senate, get a salary of $174,000 a year. Remember, most of them aren't there for the paycheck. What else do they get? Well, they get free office space. They get trips home to their state or their district. They get a really large budget. You can look this up, but we're talking millions of dollars in budget for staff. They get really good government insurance. So franking privilege. Franking privilege allows them to send mail free through the mail, the U.S. Postal Service, for free. All they do is put their signature. Go home and look in your mom and dad's mail. They probably got something from Blaine Lukemeyer recently. I did. It's got his signature on there. It costs you to send it back, but they get to do it for free. And there's some immunity from prosecution in certain instances. Really, if I was a congressperson, I got a speeding ticket on my way to doing work, I could probably wiggle my way out of it. What does that staff do? Easy. They help research, write bills. Okay, the bills that you wrote for the mock legislature, you would have a staff to help you with it. Those staff would probably have some expertise in certain areas. They get to deal with lobbyists, special interest groups. They help constituents. There's people back home who are calling up their congresspersons and saying, hey, my grandfather needs help with his veterans benefits, or my grandmother needs help with her Social Security. These are the people who call. They need help. And every 2 years, especially in the House, they work on re-election. Certain institutions also exist to support Congress. The Library of Congress, great source of information. Committee staffs. Every committee has a staff. So if you are on the Education Committee, there's an entire staff that works for the Education Committee. The GAO and the CBO, the General Accounting Office, they're the numbers crunchers. They're going to tell you who spent the money and where it's going and so on and so forth. Congressional Budget Office tells you how much it's going to cost to do something. Between the GAO and the CBO, they provide congresspersons with information when they're looking to craft legislation. How much is this going to cost? Where's the money already going? Where can we get money for it? Casework. Those constituents, like your grandma and your grandpa that I just mentioned in the previous slide, that's casework. Trying to help people out. Some of you may want to go to a military academy. You're going to submit an application or a request to be nominated by your congresspersons or your U.S. senators. Well, that's casework. They get thousands of requests each year for help. Social Security, veterans, you name it. You own property down in the floodplain down next to the Mississippi. You're probably, if it stays as wet as it is this winter and we get any heavy rain this spring, you're going to be calling a federal agency. They work with on spending programs. They try to get federal money spent in their districts. What kind of federal money? Easy. Transportation, roads. Every district has roads. Most likely those roads need to be fixed, especially after a winter like we've had here. Guess what? We want money going back home to fix the roads. When the roads are good, the people are happier. Most likely, then they will re-elect you. Military bases. There's an article in the Post-Dispatch about 1,000 servicemen are going to be cut from Fort Leonard Wood. That's 1,000 people in the neighborhood spending money. They're no longer going to be there. That could be a problem. Out here on the Mississippi, dams, locks, the floodplains, hospitals, you name it, public works, those public goods that make life better. And then grants, money given to an area or institution. We want to bring that money home. Why? Because when we bring home the bacon, and we've kind of talked about this in previous hours, we want to bring home those earmark spendings, those pet projects, if you will. Why do they want to do that? Because that's money going back to their districts, money going back to their states. And when people are being paid because of jobs that are created through these programs and these projects, is this an attempt to influence re-election? Are you buying votes? No, because everybody does it. You want to bring home the bacon, okay? Now, this next slide's really kind of fun. How should an elected official represent his constituents? During our mock legislature, we had some really big questions. And I'm just going to use legalizing prostitution. Why? Because I think that's one that most people would look at and go, what the what? Are you seriously going to legalize prostitution? Well, there's 4 different ways that a representative or a senator can respond. First off, trustee. They do what they think is best. They use their own judgment. Okay? If a member of Congress is being a trustee, they're doing what they feel is in the best interest of the people. Now, a delegate. In turn, a delegate is going to do what the constituents want them to do. And it's very straightforward. A delegate's going to say, people back home, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to vote to legalize prostitution? And if the numbers say, or the constituents say, no, we don't want this, then they're going to say, nope, I vote against it. Now, I'm going to skip the political. I'm going to go down here to partisan. What's a partisan going to do? A partisan is going to look to their party leadership, Republican or Democrat, and say, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to vote for this? Do you want me to vote against this? A politico acts as either a trustee or a delegate, depending upon the issue. So let's go back to the issue of prostitution. If you said, you know what, I don't think my constituents want me to do that, then guess what? You're voting as a delegate. If the party leadership says, we're going to vote for this, you're acting as a partisan. If you are, depending on the issue, you're playing the end. You're playing the game. You're a politico. A trustee is someone that's going to say, you know what, I'm going to do what I think is best. And that may be right, it may be wrong, but I'm going to use my own judgment. And it could be a roll of the dice. It could work, it could backfire. But at any point in time, all members of Congress, all representatives, senators, fulfill each one of those 4 roles when they vote. How do they make their decisions? Let's say you got your constituents back home telling you what to do, or saying, hey, I don't want you to vote to raise my taxes. You got colleagues who are telling you, hey, don't vote for to raising taxes. You got your party saying, no, don't do this. You got interest groups going, no, we need to raise taxes. You got political action committees. You got your staff. Look at all these people who are trying to influence a representative. It's a tough racket. It's a tough business. Ultimately, though, at the end of the day, they have to do what they feel is best for their people. Hopefully, this has shed some light on it, and